Good evening, and welcome to Allports Motorsport Supercars NZ. Bring you tonight round 2 of our V8 Championship as we catch up with our Div 2 race boys tonight at the one and only Sandown Raceway. This is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, and will be referred to tonight as the Napa 120. 120 referring to the total distance of tonight's racing. And with a bit more information about tonight's race is Shane, joining me here in the broadcasting lounge. How are we going there, Shane?
Yeah, good to be joining you here, Doug.
So I think we're both in the same boat. Hooray for daylight savings!
That's just the best thing in the world, isn't it?
It sure is.
So here in apparently Springvale is the city we're in, according to that information. I'm guessing that's the suburb of Melbourne because, as we know, Sandown is in Melbourne, Australia.
Yep.
3.13 kilometre track length, 13 turns, 8 to the left and 5 to the right. I counted those up myself a moment ago.
Well done.
Yeah, very, very exciting circuit to take V8s around. We had the Sandown 500 here that we hosted a few weeks ago, and weekend before the one just gone, Supercars were here in real life for their Sandown 500, and plenty of exciting racing across both of those events, and I'm sure we're going to replicate some of that here tonight.
Certainly will, and yeah, the Sandown 500 event that was brought to you by the Broadcasting Lounge has also got a new thing to announce tonight as part of Napa Auto Parts there. And on the Supercars NZ community page, there is a wee post up about that. Napa have so graciously given us 3 car detailing bucket kits to be able to spruce up your pride and joy at home that has 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, 6 wheels, or no wheels, depending on what its current state might be. But yeah, so through tonight's stream, we'll be having a wee sort of Where's Wally, I suppose you could call it, and I'm sure Sean will have a wee laugh at that later on, saying Where's Wally, because when you see this picture pop up during the stream, and I think you can guess which Wally out of Shane and I that might be, wearing his cool Supercars NZ top there. So when you see that awesome picture pop up, count how many times it comes up during the stream, head across to the Napa post on Supercars NZ community page and put your answer in there for how many times you saw this charming fellow pop up during the live stream. And without further ado, we're going to bring up some race data for the folks at home to see how people are going with 5 minutes of qualifying left. And Shane, if you would be so kind, could you just give us a quick rundown about Napa and Napa Auto Parts and what they might be able to do for you?
Well, I was told to look to the post that you just referred to find information about that. It's not really there, but
thanks, Leon.
But yeah, Napa Auto Parts. So they're obviously a global brand when it comes to car parts, everything you need. Yeah, for your car, head down to your local Napa. You can pick up just about anything you need, and plenty of great advice too.
Awesome stuff. We'll get Leon to put a bit more of an update on that post about what Napa can bring to you. But that's a big shout out to Craig in Sydenham, Christchurch, Auto Parts, Napa Auto Parts. Down here, I'll be swinging in to catch up with him wearing my Supercars NZ top and see if he can spot me and have a wee chit chat to him and tear some abuse off our good mate Leon. Looking at the timing tower, there's some pretty close racing going on as far as qualifying times go at the moment, isn't there, Shane?
Yeah, super close. The top three all within a tenth of a second of each other. So Quinn Wilson on top with a 107.488, and then Arthur Browen just 0.095 behind, and Nico Scholes 0.097 behind. Sorry. So very close. 0.002 separating second and third, and then Chris Zuppasich and Trent Bennett are both 0.212 off the leader, so they are equal to the thousandth of a second.
Wow. It's crazy quick. Very, very tight timings for that top five, and also still within the top 10 as well. Oh, there's someone at the door, Shano.
How we doing,
Oh,
boys?
don't let him in.
I thought I'd just knock before I just walk in.
Oh, very good. That was actually really cool, Corey, because I think I've just left a code brown on my vinyl seat because I thought someone was trying to climb in through the window beside me.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy.
Shane's clearly passed out. Has no idea what's going on.
Oh, well, it's good to be here anyway, fellas. Another Tuesday night in the broadcasting lounge.
I think Shane's actually died. Can't hear him.
I'm not sure what that was. What's going on?
I had to knock, so I didn't know what I was going to walk in on.
I actually fucking thought that was. Sorry about that. I actually did not think that was coming through my headset.
That's what I've just finished saying to Corey.
Holy shit.
I thought someone was trying to climb in through the window beside me.
Just to clarify, folks, it's just this.
Holy moly.
Very effective.
Especially when it's very audible in one ear and then there's another knock in the other ear. It's like you almost stand by waiting for come to the door, your place is surrounded.
Yeah, no, definitely get that feeling.
Holy
We got some good times coming.
Thanks,
up
Corey.
Oh, it's always good to jump in here and make the night fun.
Yeah.
There got a few quick times there. We've got the top of 8 guys in the 107s and a flurry of 108s right through to place 20. So that's pretty good. Pretty good times from Div 2.
Still nothing as fast as the stain I left in my undies and the haste at which Shane left his seat. Oh, I'm dead. I'm done. Thanks, Napa. Wow. Right. I suppose we better try and find some cars towards the starting grid. Missing a couple there at the start. They're just Quinn Wilson and Arthur Burham going and putting their race set on and making sure they've got race gas. So quickly down our top 10, we have Quinn Wilson on P1 with Arthur Burham in P2. Nico Scholes and Chris Zuppasich there in 4th, with Trent Bennett and Luke Bradley 5 and 6. Derek Lovegrove just ahead of Nick Bakey there for 7th and 8th, and Ross Watson and the Cole Taylor taking out our top 10. Looking just outside that top 10, Shana, there is some names there that will well and truly walk themselves right up in there if anything goes awry, turns 1, 2 or 3.
Yeah, Scott McKenzie starting 11th, Caleb Beecroft 12th, Jared Eccleston 13th, Grant Bristow 14th, Dan Turner 15th, Steve Darren 16th, James McKenzie 17th, Tim Volk 18th, Andrew Johnson 19th, and Bill Kilger 20th. So plenty of those guys that could take advantage of somebody having some incidents up ahead.
So that's the 20 cars, and then just so the folks at home know, there's still another 29 names in that order. So pretty packed track tonight.
I don't know. There's another 29 cars after the 20.
Oh, 9. Sorry, 9.
It's a fairly good field.
Sorry, Clearly some
We're
of what I
away.
left in my undies before has gone straight up to my head.
So Quinn leads through turn 1, Arthur slotting in behind, and a fair bit of side-by-side going on down the midfield and out the back. But Quinn Wilson leads them onto the back straight for the first time as they're starting to settle into single file. Luke Bradley just sliding in front of Kyle Taylor there, and there's an incident at the back down at turn 4. We got number 34, which is Tim Volk, facing the wrong way and dropping down the order, unfortunately. A few little battles still going on through the order as Quinn leading them out onto the main straight for the first time and finishing that first lap in the lead.
He certainly hasn't been able to shake Arthur Brown off him just yet, keeping it nice and clean and tidy after that first lap coming in through to turn 2, which has a pretty big reputation for throwing people wide outside on the ripple strip there.
Yeah, Nico Scholes has been able to slip past Chris Uppich, a third in the background there at turn 1.
Yeah, and pulling away very fast coming down into the back straight, so give him a couple of laps and he might even be able to do enough to latch on to the top 2. I imagine Quinn will be doing a little bit of defensive driving with the gap margin that Arthur's sitting to him at the moment.
Oh, and Chris
getting a little bit loose there, and he's gone deep. Sandtrap doing its job and arresting him from going into the wall. So rather than being damaged, he's now just dropped down to P10. So.
Yeah, so Chris got very wide around turn 6. I'm not sure whether or not he avoided the slowdown at turn 7, but I think if he had picked up the slowdown, certainly going off the track down there at Dandenong Road would have cleared that, so all good there. But yeah, going off into the gravel and dumping a bunch of spots there, unfortunately. A couple of misfits cars going side by side down towards turn 1. Mustang on the inside, Commodore on the outside, and for now it's going to be the Mustang of Dirk Lovegrove in front of the Commodore of Ross Watson.
Very close battling there. Just happening here, we've got Nick Bakey just making his way up the inside of Trent Bennett and slipping on by nicely. So Nick's done a superb job there to move himself up 4 spots into P4.
Speaking of big movers off the start, Thomas McCall, he's already up 11 spots. Running in 17th at the moment.
There he goes, car 834, Team West Racing, Thomas McCall. Some ability, sponsorship on that car there. Always cool to see those guys involved, making things possible for the guys who didn't think it would be possible to get amongst racing.
Yeah, you guys have got a couple of paraplegics racing in the league. I think I'm not sure if Thomas is one of them, but I know Rydoff Jenkins is one of them, and he's in the field.
Right off here. Yep, right off there, car 100, Team West Racing as well. He's actually updated his name on there too, which is nice to see. So that's Christian there, and he runs the green-wheeled Commodore. Sim ability, looking really cool.
Yeah, they had a nice up the wires on the window last Tuesday, which I thought was pretty cool. And unfortunately, there's no up the wires till next year now, so it'll be the last time you hear me say it.
There we go.
Well, I think still plenty of credit has to go to them, so up the wires.
Yeah, up the wires it was. It was a massive season for them, and it was certainly cool to get them behind them. Coming up till towards the ending stage, it would have been good to watch them play out the final this weekend, but it was still a cool match otherwise, with a couple of dodgy calls, but overall probably wouldn't have had a factor in the end result.
I was gearing up for a fairly big day with taking up the commentary duties with you on Sunday, as well as staying up for the league final, which doesn't start till 10 to 10 on the Sunday night. So she was going to be a
There we
big
go.
day, so I've been relieved of a little bit of pressure there.
Cole Taylor currently into P82 spots ahead of where he started, following Caleb Breecroft in the Allports fast lane entry there. Nice to see the Allports cars out there doing their thing. And a big shout out to Allports for being this season's V8 main sponsor and allowing us to do a very big giveaway. Big giveaway at the end of the season, and also helping with the overall contribution towards our prize dividends and sorting out those other things. So massive shout out to Allports Motorsport, and make sure you head along to allports.nz for all your sim racing needs.
Yeah, definitely check out Allports for you need some racing. I've just seen Nick Bakey come into the pits, so he's the first of the front runners to take his stop. Still quite early on, they've just started lap 6 out of 20, so basically Nick's going to be looking to do 15 laps on his second set of tyres, so he will have to do plenty of management on those.
So there's Nick there, so he's done his stop, and he's come out right in the thick of it with down here in P22. So he's got Dylan Radford just ahead of him, and then Grant Bristow just ahead of that, and then a bit of a gap margin. So he might have been wanting to look at getting just ahead of this crew, but didn't quite pan out that way. So 7 laps in, though, out of a 20 lap race. I wonder if he might have just picked up a wee bit of damage that he just wasn't feeling comfortable with on the car.
Yeah, I'd say there's got to be something else that's made him pit that early. I think if you put in that early for an undercut, you're just putting yourself with too much work to do. Obviously, he's put himself out in traffic as well. Obviously, you don't have race engineers like real drivers have to find the gaps to put you into. You can get apps that help you find those gaps, but I don't believe Nick runs anything like that, so he would have been completely blind as to where he was going to come out relative to anybody else, and unfortunately he stuck himself on a load of traffic. But yeah, I think probably wanting to get in and get some damage repaired by just how early he's come in there.
So just having a look back, we did have a wee bit of stuff happening there around the start, which I'm going to just go back and have a wee looky at. First one we're going to is actually right off Jenkins's crash.
Oh, so he's got caught up in something else there. So Misfit's car sitting across the track.
One of the Johnson boys. Feels like Johnstone.
So that Penzol car was what I picked up in the background of the shot as the leaders were piling down the front straight.
So here's James McKenzie.
Grant Bristow involved in that with James McKenzie, and then James eventually just getting turned across his nose, and one of the Johnsons there as well.
Bit messy.
I think there was Andrew Johnson we saw involved in that, getting 40 out and all that mess on the outside, unfortunately.
Yeah, just a bit untidy, and
yeah, just one of those things. I think it's yeah, it's a tight section down there through turns 2, 3, and 4, and obviously first lap he's trying to pile a lot of cars through there. We saw in the 500 most guys being pretty patient there, knowing it's a long race, but obviously this one much shorter, covering just 60 k's in this first race to make up the first half of the Napa 120, and yeah, obviously everybody a bit more keen to get on with it, and unfortunately a few guys caught out there.
Fairly busy in
100%.
pit lane at the moment.
yeah, so in pit lane, Scott McKenzie just leaving with Daniel Johnson parked up there. Jared Eccleston rolling out. Steve Arthur pulling in, and Bill Kilger just about to roll out of there as well. Bill had a bit of a touch up at the start and was missing his bonnet, so he'll be looking to get out here now and carve up some fresher laps. And he's come out 2 cars just ahead of, sorry, 1 car ahead of our lead vehicle, Quinn Wilson. So he's currently just over 7 seconds, nearly 8 seconds ahead of Trent Bennett here, who's still lapping nicely in the Misfits Racing entry. Caleb Beecroft is doing very well for himself, pulling himself further forward towards the front. Now with a wee bit of clear air and a bit of a charge on towards the back of Trent, may see a wee bit of change of position for when some of these other guys that were towards the front, they go on by after their pit stop. So that's really cool to see. And just floating a little bit further back there, Derek Lovegrove, car 17, Misfits Racing Team entry there as well.
So Quinn Wilson's just taking his pit stop from the lead, so he's going to be looking to cover off Arthur Bryan, who got in a lap earlier. So we'll see if Arthur's been able to trigger the undercut. He'd certainly been able to keep pretty close to Quinn during that first stint.
Quite a few more diving for the pits now. So here's Arthur. Quinn is currently taking his fuel and tyres, and he is dropping, and he is on his way rolling out.
It's going to be pretty tight by the time Quinn's up to speed, but I think he's just going to be able to hold on here. In fact, a few car lengths ahead he's able to get to turn 1 there, but obviously Arthur's going to have his tyres up to temperature. Quinn had a bit of a wobble off turn 3, so Arthur will look to put the hammer down while he's got nice warm and fresh tyres and look to close that gap. Pit stop times relatively equal. Arthur 4/10 of a second slower than Quinn Wilson on his pit stop time, so not a huge amount. So I guess just in and out laps for Quinn Wilson have been enough to give him this little gap here.
Certainly is, and yeah, Quinn showing a cool amount of pace from coming across from his GT3 racing series last season and giving the V8s a good honking this time round. I wouldn't say he'd be too far off from getting up in amongst the Div 1 boys with the way he's tracking this season, and he might find himself enjoying a bit of fresh competition, because when you're out and about out the front racing in the clear air all the time, you probably end up losing a wee bit of that skill set of racing craft and driver awareness. It certainly won't take anything away from him at the moment, while the gold is looking good around the neck.
Yeah, sure, but I did hear a bit of chat around potentially Quinn Wilson should be a Div 1 driver amongst some of the drivers tonight, so we will see if there's any movement for him for next season. I think based on the form he's showing, there probably will be, but well, generally our policy is to let the guys have their chance to compete and win a season in Div 2 and then look at getting moved up the following season.
Yeah, it's possible. We've certainly had some guys turn up and they've just been, without a doubt, it's been straight into the Div 1 call-up, but as you just said, we do like to let people tread the toe in the waters of Div 2, unless it's blatantly obvious that they're in the wrong one. Because as Quinn had stated, you know, quick in a GT3, but he's never driven the V8s before, so you know, would have been a bit unfair on us to go and put him up there with our elite drivers in the Div 1 crew. So we'll stick him back here with Div 2.
Yeah, for sure, and obviously talent is talent. If you got it, you're gonna have it in just about anything. But what does take a bit of time is honing your skills to get that right skill set for the type of car you want to drive, and Quinn taking a lot of curb there potentially would have picked up a slowdown. Steve Darren down in 20th there. Dan Turner sitting in
I
16th.
did hear was that one. Bill just getting out of shape and losing it at turn 1 there. I think he did that by himself. I'll have a quick look at that he wasn't assisted. I heard a wheel lock, so yes, just a bit too much and locked the rears. Ooh. The tank slapper back onto the track, narrowly avoiding Grant Bristow.
And Grant did a great job it looked like he got on the brakes and did a great job to avoid running into Bill there. And that's exactly what you should do when you've got a car out of control in front of you. You never quite know where he's going to go, so get on the brakes, take your time, let him spin out of your way, and then take the position.
That's Dan Turner here, also representing the Team West Racing Sim Abilities team and livery on his Commodore, so that's cool to see for Dan, and he's currently following a very blinky Misfits car going around the track in front of him, which I'm not too sure who that is. Glenn Collins, there we go. So new entrant for the race season, Glenn. Looks like you might be part of Team Misfits, but I'm not 100% sure. Yes, he is. There we go. So car 171, new entrant for Team Misfits Racing there. So welcome along. Hopefully you're enjoying your racing when you're on track there.
And among the Misfits boys, Glenn has become known as the new Trent, because much as Trent Bennett used to be, Glenn is racing on Starlink.
You're talking about Trent Net.
Correct.
Old Trent Net, eh? Yeah, he had to go and cut down a whole bucket load of trees, Trent, just so he could get his satellites to work properly.
And it still didn't work properly.
It didn't. That was humorous now, but not at the time. It's good to be able to laugh about these things later on. So, but, Trent doing a good job, and he's out there sitting in 4th spot currently. So,
Sir Trent Bennett.
Yes.
Knighted. Well, in good company.
We have them all here at Supercars NZ.
So to finish my point before as well, if you do see Trent blinking a bit on track, that is why, because he's racing on Starlink and we'll run into those issues. And Trent's off the Starlink, but he's just had a bit of a blink there himself, hasn't he?
Yep.
Oh no! Oh, Trent got very lucky there.
That was Nico's skulls, I believe.
And Nico was all sorts of out of control.
The data's not jumping around. Sorry, the 4th time trying to click on this guy's name.
Hey! So he gets up on the curve, gasses it up, slides back the other way, just can't get the power down. I think Trent was fortunate that Nico was already lacking traction in the rear, so it meant that it was his car that spun out of control when contact was made rather than Trent's, and unfortunately it looks like Nico's got him jammed in the wall there as well.
And towed back to the pits. Unfortunate there for Nico, because he was sitting there in 3rd spot. So out here at the front, 17 laps into this 20-lap race, Quinn Wilson still just leads Arthur Broom by nearly 3 seconds. That's him just coming there in the background. Car 47. Good out there. Trent just down the other end of the back straight. And Nick Bakey hanging on pretty well for coming in as early as he did. Doesn't seem to be losing out too much to Caleb behind him, but
big tyre smoke up in front. Someone's had a bit of a moment. Doesn't look to be anybody in the gravel, so perhaps Trent just able to get it pulled up with a big lock there.
Caleb, we've still got Cole, and then we've got Luke Bradley, who's faring pretty well for himself tonight. Only down one grid spot into P7, so still looking pretty solid there. Derek Lovegrove keeping it nice and tidy. P8, Scott McKenzie there. P9, bit of a front wheel lock coming into turn 1. And Stonesy back this season and looking pretty happy with where he's at the moment. P10 up 3 grid spots, so he'll be pretty happy moving forward into the next race with having done that. This is where the most of our battles are playing out at the moment, is for position 6, 7 and 8, as Luke Bradley has done enough to get up the outside of Cole. Cole defending the inside line coming in here. Position the car nicely up and across that curve to move it across mid-track to stop Luke from what remaining down the outside would have been the inside for the next corner. So threw it in hard and it paid off good for him this time round.
And I can confirm that is the Cole Taylor.
It is the Cole Taylor.
Like the Cole Taylor.
The Cole
Yes.
Taylor.
Wow.
The Cole Taylor.
Look at a Sir and Cole Taylor in the server. Div 2 is really showing it up tonight.
Cole's actually done enough to sneak up really close to the back of Caleb here as he come down towards the end of lap 19 here before our final lap. Quinn Wilson has gone across the line throwing up the white flag for the field.
Yeah, so Cole putting all sorts of pressure on the back of Caleb there. Arthur's been able to bring that lead down by about a second at the front, but I think he's probably just going to run out of time.
Yeah, he's just got lap traffic there ahead of him as well. Hopefully they are able to move out of his way before the end, but down here...
Just before we went on to
Caleb's
that shot,
big
Cole
one.
was out sideways. Yeah, it looked awesome.
Oh!
And he's found the wall there.
Oh no.
And a big heavy hit to the front right tyre as well. Hopefully that doesn't stop him from being able to get down through these last few corners.
I'm sure he'll limp at home, but he's dropped a position behind Luke Bradley there. Hopefully he can hold off Derek Lovegrove in behind in the Misfits car. As Quinn Wilson's taken the win.
Arthur in second there, Trent coming around past pit lane entry, round up to P3, Bakey there in fourth, and Caleb Beecroft with a bit of stress off his shoulders across the line into P5. Luke Bradley holding on nicely from where he started, finishing in the same spot, and Cole just unlucky getting his car a little bit out of shape on that last lap. Dropping one spot, but still finishing up 3 into P7. Derek Lovegrove finished there in 8th. Ahead of Scott McKenzie there in 9th, and Gerald Eccleston rounded out our top 10. Car still streaming across the line, which is awesome to see. Father and son combo there, Daniel and Andrew Johnson, and that's Daniel the son and Andrew the father. Tom McCall, Steve Darren there in 18. Tom McCall, great race. You said it there at the beginning, Corey. Up 11 and stayed 11 spots there to finish into 17th. James McKenzie down a couple as the last cars cross over the line, and we get reset once again. So the boys will now enjoy a 5-minute break or a 5-minute warm-up session. What would you be doing at this point, Corey?
Well, just be grabbing a drink of water, I guess, and rehydrating and maybe going and getting it out the other end, so you don't need to be busting going through a race. There's nothing worse than that.
Yep.
Or
That's
maybe even they
certainly
could
fair.
use that five minutes to go and sign up for the Virtual Motorsport Enduro for Mental Health 23. That might be a good thing for them to do.
It would be a very good thing to do with 5 minutes of time, because it probably doesn't take too much longer than to do that, would it, Corey?
You'll be all sorted. It'll only take you 2 minutes to do, and there's PayPal for anybody out of New Zealand and a New Zealand bank account number if you feel like transferring it that way. But yeah,
Nice.
entries are open now, and yeah, she's a month and a wee bit, and we're going to be jumping in those big Yank tanks and trying to take on the Mons.
Yes, yeah, no, looking forward to seeing how that all pans out. NASCAR's at Le Mans. I mean, people probably really shouldn't laugh about it too much now, because we thought it was a crazy idea beforehand, but they had a NASCAR styled car recently competing in the Le Mans 24 hour.
And yeah, and completed it, which is yeah, a bit of a surprise, really. But
And not only completed it, was actually going faster than I think some of the GT3 class cars.
yeah, and it was almost twice the size of some of the other cars on track, which I thought was quite cool.
Yep.
It doesn't stop very well, so I mean, you're gonna double all your braking markers, and yeah, I mean it's all for a good cause. Yet to be announced exactly, but that's all coming out very soon. A lot of stuff happening behind the scenes from the offside of Ash at the moment, just working on things on his side of it and getting them all underway.
Yep. It's going to be an absolute perler. So, funnily enough, I reckon everyone's taken your advice, because we're nearly 3 minutes into this warm-up session, and I don't see a single car out there on track.
Well, currently, there's nothing new to report. We've got a live feed, so as soon as somebody signs up, it shows up in the feed as the cars sign up. So, which is a pretty
Yeah,
cool feature.
it is very cool. Well, maybe they've taken your first guess and all done a quick dash to the bathroom.
Definitely hydrating, and I'm gonna have to catch an early flight back to home this evening. So I'll be leaving you guys before the start of the second race.
Oh, it's cool. We certainly enjoy having you here in the lounge, Corey, and thanks for scaring the absolute living daylights out of us both when you came in. The funny thing was, and I was going to say it to Shane, was when you said you were going to be going quiet before you jumped in, was I said, oh, Corey should announce himself by doing like a knock at the door, or let that little kid that pops up in your Facebook news feed every while that's like, hey, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably would have been cool if you'd followed that after, territorials have just gone and knocked down both sides of the house.
Just word for word. I'll remember that one for next time.
Yeah, that's good, because like I said, I know I was glued to the seat, and Shane was clearly off going flushing stuff down the toilet.
Shane did go fairly quiet there for a bit.
I was like literally outside trying to figure out who was there.
And if you've only just joined us now, jump back to the beginning of the stream after we've finished up here, and you'll know exactly what we're on about. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. There we go. Look at that. I'm very surprised. That's 5 minutes of warm up, and I don't think I've ever seen a race where no one's jumped back out to do a lap, to try something, anything. Like either people have just happy, they're clear. Maybe they've done so many laps here with Supercars NZ lately here at Sandown. Maybe that's it.
Could be. certainly everybody obviously happy with their start from race 1 as well, because normally we see somebody getting out and doing some practice starts if they've not had the best getaway for race 1.
That's it. Hey, now I see, obviously, we had this guy here. He was running P3, right?
Sure. Who are we looking at?
Nico Skulls.
Yes.
Sorry, I'll bring up the data. There he is. Nico Skulls. How about we watch the opening lap from his perspective?
Sure.
Should we make it fully intensive and go on board?
You're the director.
Do a bit of that, and we'll add some of that, and we'll do that. Oh no, we'll get him out of the way. So Nico Skulls was running P3 for the majority of that race, and we are now underway. Green flag.
And he's got a great launch, already picking up spots and moving his way through the field. Oh, big dive down the inside at turn 1.
Ooh.
And there's drama in
Oh!
front, and he's been able to pick his way through it.
This is Nico from P30 now up to P14 in a matter of 3 corners. 5, should I say.
Pulling gears down the back straight, and he's got a great run, picking up another spot over Jared Eccleston there.
Correct. He's now got Mr. Kilger there in front of him.
Oh, and he's tagged him, tries to
late.
straighten him up on the exit.
That was late. Won't be happy about that one. Bill's tumbling down the order. That's the beginning of lap 2 from Nico's view from the back of the pack. Quinn Wilson still doing his thing, leading Arthur Broham by nearly half a second. Margin coming down. Nick Bakey already up a spot into P3. He's looking good. Caleb Beecroft nice and solid. Eyes forward from him. And Trent must have not had a very good start because he's down 2, so we'll be able to go back and have a bit of a look at the race start and see how that worked for Trent in a minute. Down here, just find Grant Bristow, and he's already up 5 spots, and he's got Nico sitting in behind him already. Andrew Johnson peeling off into pit lane, no spoiler on the back of his car.
Yes, Andrew obviously involved in a bit of drama. We've got Nico going down the inside on Grant here now, and down into turn 1. Looks like he's going to get the job done if he can get it pulled up. And he does so nicely.
Very rapid start there. Let's have a quick look back at the race start here for Trent Bennett. So he actually got away okay, and he managed to stay just in front of Nick Bakey there for a moment. Oh, there we go. That would explain a bit of that. Oh, and actually massive crash there from Cole Taylor. Jared Ecclestone went off track. Have a squiz at that because someone had a big boo boo here. Oh. It's like Steve Darren with absolutely no brakes there. And I've actually got no data on that of Steve. But I'm going to go on here and see what we can bring up. Oh, Steve getting into a bit of a tangle and then just distracted momentarily from So that was a big moment, and that
I,
would
I think
explain why Nico went through everything.
I feel like Steve's fencing new brake pedal may have failed.
He's yeah, well he's I don't think he's
His
still
left
on.
discord, and he was rolling backwards. Steve's normally a guy we would expect
Yeah,
to be onto it enough to hold the brake in that situation, and
yes,
it did look like he didn't get on the brakes at all. So I think that's a gear failure there for Steve, unfortunately.
that is unfortunate. There you go. So very interesting start to the Napa 120 for this one. Very yeah, very unfortunate start there for a few of the guys. And we've had a yellow flag.
We sure have.
Here we go. Well, this may help tidy up some of those issues. We'll see what happens with strategy-wise with people coming through now. Because we would have had a fair few of those guys come in to get damage repairs really early on as well, so could be an opportunity for some of them to get back into the mix.
So safety car picks up Quinn Wilson as the leader, and one of the Misfits cars reacting to the Q formula a little bit late there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many people have the correct data up on their screen, because I'm sure that yellow flag and safety car notice would have been pretty abundant on mine.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it is hard to tell exactly where the safety car is on track if you're a bit further back in the queue. So I
Yeah,
think a couple of cars there just not quite realising that everybody was queuing up behind the safety car there and charging in a bit hard.
is indeed. Tim Vork here. I'm not too familiar with him. Is he a new entrant to the season, or does his name ring a bell for you from elsewhere?
I believe he's new this season. Is it bad that when I look at his name I just think chalk?
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I had similar reread of that name as well, and it had nothing to do with the number of ciders that I've enjoyed this evening. So you may be able to give us a bit more of an update. What's being told to the drivers on track? Is pit lane currently open? Is it closed?
I believe it will be opening this lap. And that'll be really interesting because lap 6 out of 20, quite early if you want to make it home on tyres, but obviously it's a cheap pit stop in terms of time lost, but if you're down the front and you're the only one that comes in, you stand to lose a lot of spots as everybody's bunched up behind you, but it looks like most guys are coming in. Could be an opportunity for somebody at the back to stay out, get to the front, try and get a gap on the guys they're racing after the restart, and then get in and get some fresh tyres on later in the race, and they're not having to nurse those tyres so much through to the end. And it looks like Andrew Johnson might be the first guy to try and take advantage of that, and potentially Andrew's already been in to take a fast repair as well.
Possibly, yeah. So there's already showing a few of these guys have had their pit stop. Now mixing in with a few of the others, but I believe Andrew, Derek, John, um, Luke, and Steve were all part of that.
Looks like
Um,
looks like
Luke,
Wayne.
maybe Nick, and Arthur, yeah, so those guys have already now come through having had their stop, so...
Looks like Wayne Hartnell, the only guy in the field who is not pitted, and he is currently leading, so he will have control of the restart, and he will certainly be looking to make hay while the sun shines once it does go green, because he is definitely going to need to create a gap to look to slot in either in front of or around the guys he's looking to race. Of course, when he pits later on, he will have fresh tyres to the end, so he will be able to make up some ground later on as well. So it will be
Yeah.
interesting to see where he slots in. He started in 27th, I believe, or 28th, making him up 27th to be in first, up 27
Yep.
spots to be in first.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out relative to that. I'm not quite sure where he was before the safety car, unfortunately, to get a true read on how the strategy call will affect him, but we will wait and see, I guess.
So it's always part of the big surprise with Supercars NZ, and you just never know what's going to happen with any race up until that checker flag is dropped in front of you. Oh.
So lights are out on the safety car.
So Wayne Hartnell here in control of the field. Let's see what he is going to do for us. He's away.
Yeah, no messing around. As soon as the safety car peeled off, he went.
Green, green, green.
And look at Quinn Wilson already looking to make ground after the pit stops there. So in terms of immediate track position, those guys who had already pitted before the yellow obviously gained an advantage, but they're also going to have a long way to go, a very long way to go on these tyres, because they'll put it on lap 1 or 2 out of 20, so they will be doing a lot of management. Quinn's still going to be needing to do some management, but significantly less than those guys that came in very early on in the race.
Great. Quinn just putting a bit of weave onto his tyres, just building up a wee bit of temperature as he comes down here into corners.
Oh,
7,
Wayne's
8,
dropped
9.
it. Wayne's dropped it at Dandenong Road, and he is going to see the whole field go by, and he still needs to take his spot. That will be very disappointing for him.
That is, and that's pretty much every man and his dog rolling on by there. So Andrew Johnson now effective race leader over Luke Bradley and Derek Lovegrove. Derek showing the nose like he might want to take it into turn 2 here. Luke doing a great job of defending that by allowing enough room but still keeping that track position in front, so that's really cool to see. Back here, pretty big battles here for Team Misfits. Steve Arthur, Scott McKenzie and Ross Watson all pretty tidy as far as that goes. Nico Scholes in with the back of Ross Watson Clang here. Down here a bit further we've got Dylan Radford, which is the white Mustang on the outside with the green racing strip there, as right off Jenkins just manages to squeeze on by. Chris Zuppich there.
Oh, that's
not
interesting.
looking good.
Oh! Write-off's been sent to the tyres there, and that was absolutely no fault of his. The car down the inside going very deep and getting to the side of him, and Trent Bennett getting sent into the Armco there.
Another car around and back. Crikey, definitely happening. So, and Luke Bradley amongst all of that has been able to make his way past Andrew Johnson. Andrew not wanting to give up, got back and behind the draft. That margin is getting very low, but he's decided to lift before coming into turn 7 here.
And that was smart because he's put himself in a position to just put a bit of pressure on Luke and put him offline there, and you can see how close he got down into Dandenong Road there, and
Yeah,
right under the rear wing now.
He certainly did. Luke actually looked like he was just trying to wrest a wee bit more speed and pretty much had it parked at the apex. So got the nudge from Andrew, and coincidentally Andrew got the nudge from Derek. So it might be cue there for Andrew looking forward if he can get close enough again. That might be the corner to
Oh, Derek having a look on the
switch down the inside.
And now Quinn's right there on Derek as well.
Sure is, there he is. So Quinn managing to move himself up ahead of Nick Bakey there into P4. Fast guys continuing to be fast guys. Down here there was a bit of a drag race happening with some of those boys. Nico Scholes had managed to get past Ross Watson, who were having a wee bit of a blink on screen. Dan Turner here following Tim Vork. Just up from them is Bill Kilger. Chris Zapicic, and then James McKenzie, who is doing his best to get into the draft of Jared Eccleston, but he's actually dropped a little bit there to Chris Zapicic there as far as margin goes. There was a car off the side of the track there for sure. It was indeed Grant Bristow, Devil's Cut Barbecue. Unlucky for him, just looped it out of turn 1. We'll have a quick squiz at that. Bit deep, bit wide. Oh, yep, and just a touch of power there as he dropped down off the end of the ripple strip. Went from having traction to no traction, then a whole bunch of traction again.
Quinn Wilson's just moved up to third as Derek Lovegrove ran wide at Dandenong Road, and Derek actually dropped 3 spots on that to sit 6th now. So Derek just getting wide over the top, and that just offsets your braking so much here, and you can see he just runs wide over that ripple strap, drops a wheel on the gravel, and just takes so much extra time to get back up to racing speed there, and those 3 cars that were all very close behind just able to find their way by.
They sure did, and with them being one simultaneous choo-choo train, it certainly wasn't hard for them all to glow on by together. We actually got data, Grant Bristow crashing as well, so I'm just double checking this. This isn't something new. This was after the fact. Oh, big moment down there in the background though. So nothing further, but that was a big moment. Marty Mitchell, I'm guessing. Ooh. That's one way you tell your Commodore you don't like it, I suppose.
So Jared Eccleston, unlucky 13th, looking to change that, putting pressure on Daniel Johnson in 12th.
Yep. Nice and clean, great battles taking place there. Andrew Johnson under pressure now from Arthur Brougham. That's tight under brakes.
And since Quinn found his way past Andrew, he's been really getting on with it. Andrew going deep at Dandenong Road with the lock brake and dropping a couple of spots there. But since Quinn was able to find his way past Andrew, he's really rocketed up to the back of Luke Bradley and putting all sorts of pressure on our race leader now. And obviously Quinn had dominated the night up to that safety car, and a couple of those guys that got in early as a result of the drama were able to take advantage and jump to the front, but Quinn looking to regain his rightful position there.
Once indeed. And big shout out to Napa Auto Parts for the Napa 120 here at Sandown this evening. Clearly some of these guys must be running some of their stuff and putting it to good use. Just can't believe the pace of some of these guys. Look how fast he's just pulled in Luke Bradley there. Topped out 6th gear.
And they're going to go side by side on the run down the hill. Plenty of space given. Nice respect. Luke rear locking on the way down into Dandenong Road. But that is how you can get side by side through that section. Not an easy feat, but both guys showing plenty of respect.
Here it is again. We saw it on board with Quinn, and that's the dive that he makes at the top of 6th gear. Nice race awareness from Luke and from Quinn, giving each other plenty of room. Quinn just having a bit of a brake lock coming down into turn 8, doing enough just to lift and then get back on it to keep it under control. Great bit of racemanship there. So for Nico Skulls, running mostly P3 in the last race to crashing out and finishing at the back, starting this race from last position, currently up 22, now possibly 23 spots.
So I've just heard.
I've just heard a big one.
Yeah, I heard it too. Either a big shunt or an engine blow.
So there was that, and there was also this. I don't think it would have been that one. So then maybe this one, Thomas McCall. Hard to say. That's the only time
it was Arthur blowing his engine. So where he's locked the rears into Dandenong Road, that's because his engine's gone.
Oh, okay. So maybe around here. So it was just back from that. Oh, hey. Oh, you'll just have to believe us. Still a happening thing here at the front, certainly not the margin that Quinn finished on with the previous one. Luke still keeping him in check.
Yes, I think Quinn probably aware that he got those tyres on quite early and has done a bit of work to find his way through the field since then. So probably just looking to use just enough of the tyre to hold Luke Bradley at bay there, as the leaders have just had to pick their way around a lap car who's spun coming onto the back straight. And Luke looking to fight back on Quinn Wilson, and he's all the way up the inside. And as you finally find them, Luke had backed out of it on the run down the hill.
There you go. Yes, I thought I was clicking at the top, but I had scrolled down some of the numbers, so that's why I got halfway up the pack. But that was John Lee crashing, I believe, here in the Passion Sim Racing car. And then I believe Nick unfortunately got into this one.
Oh,
Unlucky there for Nick Bakey, and now that is one very damaged John Lee and a blown motor for Nick as well. So a tow to the pit lane, or maybe he drove in.
that's just the normal Mustang, isn't it?
Yep. Smoke screen, it's the only way that they can keep themselves in front. Okay. Oh, I guess Nick got up and away from his car altogether there. So, Quinn Wilson, Luke Bradley still having their go. Nico Scholes has put himself back into P3 where he should have finished Heat 1 by all accounts. Caleb Beecroft there in P4. Andrew Johnson's having some cool battles there with Scott McKenzie as they come across the line with the white flag now showing. Derek Lovegrove looking nice and healthy there. And then we've got Stonesy in P8 getting followed by Steve Arthur and Daniel Johnson in 10th spot there.
It was all on the it was all on for the lead on the final lap there, as Luke Bradley had a look at Quinn Wilson down the inside of turn 4. I think a bit of patience would have been wise from Luke there. He could have potentially looked to get the good exit off turn 4 in the draft down the back straight to set up a move down here, but unfortunately he's just a bit too far back now. As Scott McKenzie had a look on Andrew Johnson there, and Derek Lovegrove able to go down the inside as Scott got all unsettled, and Quinn's going to come across the line and take the win.
Well done. Congratulations, Quinn. Great bit of racing there. Luke Bradley coming across the line to second. Nico Scholes, big recovery from the end of the pack there to P3. Possibly might be some penalties coming his way if some of the drivers weren't too happy with some of the stuff on the opening lap. But of course we only saw it from inside the car, so we're not too sure how it all played out. The drivers have got the ability to forward their complaints through to the decision maker, and we'll see what happens there. Don't think there's been any complaints for the start of the season this one time round, so everyone enjoying themselves a lot.
Massive respect to Luke Bradley on that performance here as well. He got those tyres on lap 1 after being caught up in that early drama. Obviously took advantage of the safety car to be able to get track position while those who hadn't been in came in to get tyres, but a very impressive effort to be able to hold on and finish within a second of Quinn Wilson in the end after Quinn got those tyres on under safety car on lap 6. So very impressive performance to get those tyres all the way to the end there.
Indeed. And I'll just take a second just to do a shout out for Andrew Johnson here, who's managed to finish up 10 spots into P5, and that's a whole 5 spots ahead of his son Daniel Johnson there, who took out P10. So another close championship battle between those two. I know they like comparing races afterwards and having a bit of fun poking at each other, as most fathers and sons would. So awesome stuff for those guys. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what all comes out of it at the end of the day. There's a few early race dramas there in the second race. A yellow flag thrown, but it's all part of it here at Supercars NZ. Massive thanks to Allports Motorsport for their V8 sponsorship this season. Napa Auto Parts coming on board with this week's Napa 120. And Shane, I'll let you give us the rundown and sign off for the evening. Let us know where we're going to be racing next, and give the fans at home a quick probably sayonara before you leave us momentarily.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. So you can join Sean and Wayne on Thursday night for the GT3s, which this week head to Sebring.
Mm-hmm.
And then next week, V8s will be back next Tuesday. I won't be back. Doug will be back. Someone will be sitting alongside Doug. Will it be Corey?
It might be sock puppet time.
Might be. But anyway, the V8s will head to Alton Park next week.
Cool.
And meanwhile, I'm going to be off at Bathurst. So, hey, potentially I might be able to check in from trackside at Bathurst and gloat about what an awesome experience I'm having.
Yeah. So
Doing
you're going to be
terrific.
seeing the actual Bathurst, but you're going to be missing the Simblacks Bathurst 1000 on Sunday as well, won't you?
Yeah, that's right. About an hour after the race kicks off at 12 o'clock is when my first flight from New Plymouth to Auckland leaves on getting my trip underway to get to Bathurst. So,
Oh, so you'll we'll be keeping you company on your journey as you tune into the live stream at the broadcasting lounge.
yeah, for sure, I'll have my phone paired up to my earbuds, and those will be firmly implanted in my ear for the whole couple of flights. And yeah, my phone, as long as I can get my phone hooked up to the Wi-Fi on the plane, that should be streaming the Bathurst 1000 live stream.
Awesome stuff. Oh, that's going to be really cool. And thank you again to Corey for popping in and out and joining us in our streams. Certainly love having you here, and and the humour that you bring to the table. So I think you're going to be doing some appearancing on Sunday for Bathurst.
Yeah, I'll be in for Bathurst. I'm 100% in with you, Dougie. We got this. Gonna
Awesome
bring
stuff.
some folks some good viewing on a Sunday afternoon. I couldn't think of anything better to be doing.
It's certainly going to be a good one. I'm going to make sure I've got a big healthy board of cheese platter and salami sitting beside me, along with my beverage cooler. So tune in on Sunday as you hear the depleted voice of Doug D tune over the hours as I slowly get food comatose and alcohol affected.
Oh, well, I don't drink, so I'll hold it all together. And I'm sure the rest of the boys will be popping in and out during the night as well.
They will be. They'll do their thing. So if you've survived with us right through till the end, thank you very much. And yeah, like we said at the beginning of the stream, have a look out for that Where's Wally rooster that jumped in and out of the stream for a few times. Let us know the total head count that you saw. Jump on the Supercars NZ community page, put your answers in there, and we'll be doing a draw on Sunday for that one as well. So keep your ears peeled for that.
How many times did it pop up, Doug? Just
I'll
just
message
wanna
you.
know.
Yes, you'll. Yeah, thanks. I've got to go.
Right, that's me. I'm out. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Corey. Still terrifying. Still terrifying. Yeah.
It's me falling down the steps.
So Sunday's going to be an absolute hoot for that one. Yeah, so thank you again to Napa for hitting us up with your luxury bucket of goodies for vehicle detailing. Find Where's Wally, let us know how many times, and then there'll be a draw for that on Sunday before we get hyped up for the Simblacks Bathurst 1000. This is Doug, that was Corey, the one and only Shane, keeping us all wrapped up together in one healthy bunch for the evening. Good evening.